All right, let's begin then. Hello and good afternoon from London. Good morning for people joining us from the West, and good evening to everyone joining us from the East. It is an absolute pleasure to have you be a part of this Vynners Community Masterclass on reducing fines and improving compliance. We will record this session today, so a warm welcome to those watching us later. Today is the 11th edition of our Vynners community, and we have two game changing speakers for you today from Cadent Gas and Northumbrian Water sharing their insights with us. My name is Shashank, the product director at Vyntelligence, and I'm going to briefly introduce the event to you. While I do that, please take this opportunity to share your name, where you work, and where in the world you are at the moment in the chat so that we all can get to know each other. Please also use this chat throughout the event to ask questions from our speakers or the Win team itself. Where possible, we will respond directly within the chat, or else we'll pick these up later in our Q&A section. So, what do we have in store for you today? Firstly, I'm going to give a quick overview of the Vynners community, how it started, what it means, and why are we here for. Then we'll move straight into the part you all are here for, the winning stories from Ben Elsie from Northumbrian Water and William Bessa Simons from Cadent Gas, hosted by none other than our marketing and events lead, Shrey Khanna. Following that, our VP for Customer Success, Vineet, whom a lot of you would have already met, will manage a brief Q&A session to answer any queries that may have arisen. And then finally, our special guest of honor, Monisha Gaur, will spend 5 minutes sharing her take on the topic of reducing fines and improving compliance before presenting awards to our amazing star winners. Now, today's session is about using innovations like Bin Smart Video Notes to have smarter streetworks to reduce fines and improve regulatory compliance. The purpose behind Winners Community was to create a space to share knowledge and learnings from our customers to benefit our community. Each and every customer, prospect, user, influencer, and the team member is constantly learning and gaining new insights on how innovation is helping us excel in driving productivity with the work that we do. Winners Community is a forum where you ask questions to the member of our community and you come together to learn, share, and succeed. Now, before we move on to the um, winning stories, let me thank everyone. Thank you. Our purpose from the start has been to help busy professionals simplify their work life through effectively applying innovations and seeing benefits from a visual, data centric approach. And we are so lucky to have seen this firsthand. Our growing community spans around 20 countries. We are all aligned to our core values here at Vyntelligence. A common purpose to simplify business operations, bring agility and efficiency at work, and embrace safety and sustainability at the core of everything that we do. So today, we're saying a big thank you to each one of you who have joined us. We want to celebrate the winners who have been with us on a journey of innovation and transformative change to make every day at work simpler, safer, and faster. We've got a great session lined up for you today. And without any further ado, I would like to introduce our first star winner, Ben Elsey from Northumbrian Water. Now, I'll hand over to Shrey, who will lead the engagement with our game-changing speakers. Over to you, Shrey.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Shashank. Just a quick housekeeping. I believe the chat was previously disabled, but should be enabled now for everyone to be able to comment where they're from and say hi and post your questions. So without further ado, I'd like to take a second to introduce Ben Elsey, the Flooding Operations Manager at NWL, Northumbrian Water. Ben has over 20 years of experience in the water industry and has held a variety of roles. He started his water career in the customer department of Northumbrian Water, carrying out accounting activity and supporting internal processes and procedures. Moved on to investigating and looking at the root cause of customer dissatisfaction and has managed teams in his time as a performance analyst, supported NWG teams as well, to have their data be more visible. He moved into the wastewater team and looked after contract delivery, for the reactive repair and maintenance framework, and has most recently moved into the role of Flooding Operations Manager. Ben, thank you so much for being with us here today. Just to start off our conversation, I think it would be great to set a little bit of context for our audience, to talk a little bit about why you're a game changer, talking about reducing fines and driving compliance. So if we start with a little bit of some of the challenges that you were facing as Ben in Northumbrian Water with your team, that kind of led you to look at driving some new innovation or applying new innovation within the processes and the context that you were currently operating with.
Yeah, so to as you say, to set the context. So my role, I look after all of those customers in our Northumbrian Water region that may have suffered internal flooding from the sewage network, and also those customers that suffer external flooding, again from our sewage network. And there's two specific problems that kind of identified Vyn as being a really supportive mechanism. So one was around those experiences where we had crews on site through jetting vans that were there to clear blockages or do some cleaning of the sewers. Unfortunately, there was a practice of accidentally, whilst during that operation, of internally flooding those customers. We tried lots of things to try and improve that, and it didn't quite work. And I can go on to what we did in detail a little bit later, Shrey. The other problem was we know that we're a lot more successful in identifying the cause of that flooding if we have technical people attend site on the first instance. There's a section of our work that we were never doing that before September of last year. And that's the other problem. So the two projects that I've used or identified the problem for is flooding from operations and the first time transferred flooding. So if you hear me refer to either of those two projects throughout this discussion, that's what it relates to.
Amazing. Thank you for the context, Ben. And it's becoming very evident already that kind of the challenge that you're facing is something that has a lot of strong impact across a variety of different stakeholders, right? Across your various teams, across the larger goals that you as a company are looking for. So when you decided to bring on and look at a new innovation to smart video notes, what was the experience of that like across your various stakeholders? Obviously, bringing on something new, as we all know, change can be quite tricky, quite scary for a lot of people, and take some time to get used to these things. So, you know, a little bit of friction is always expected. But if you tell us a little bit about that experience across your teams, yourself, the company as a whole, that'd be really helpful.
So again, just references back to the two projects. So the first one was around flooding from operations. Now, a lot of Northumbrian Water's reactive activity is delivered by our contract partners. So that the impact of introducing a new tool to a contractor can be equally as challenging, because you have that separation between you're not directly employed by you, so it's a bit more of a challenge in terms of selling the advantages and benefits to that. So that was the first kind of struggle, I guess. And the second part is, change isn't good for everybody. And it's around engaging with those individuals, allowing them to see the connection between the problem and the benefit, and using Vyn in a way that allows them to have that responsibility and accountability, which I'm sure we'll get on to a little bit later. But it has been challenging at times to get people to use it and to be bought into it. And I think one of the ways that we approached it was smaller group sessions and things like that to allow people to adapt to that change and try it, use it, and see how it goes. But yeah, the impact's been really good so far across all our stakeholders.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. When we're talking about sort of championing change and bringing, something new on, obviously across various teams, now that they've kind of had the time to get used to the process that you're building in, get used to the innovation, get used to playing around with it. What have you noticed specifically about the value of video in sort of building compliance and as a tool to drive this assurance and compliance across your teams?
Yeah, it probably sounds obvious in terms of using video technology, but it's evidence. It's the evidence of those control measures, evidence of mitigation of either operational or safety issues, evidence of how people are thinking about a process when they're in the field, especially in an operational situation, around the thought process, allowing them to not just record what they see, but also allowing them the opportunity to verbally explain what they feel about a situation, what's their on-site interpretation about that environment, about what they can see that might be beyond the camera or I think the evidence of any incidents is clear and post-incident. We review kind of every single internal flooding that's happened to our customers. We also review every single repeat external incident that's happened to our customers, and using the evidence that are provided by the team that are using the Vyn has been invaluable, and we use all that information to then be able to help us categorize if it's ours or if it's not, and the impact on the customer and what we need to do next.
Amazing. And what's that change been like across your team in terms of, have you seen any specific behavior changes that have occurred across time of sort of using the technology? Obviously, the initial part of getting used to it and then getting the hang of it and then seeing all the benefits that come out of it. Share with us some of the experiences that you and your team have had in terms of benefits that you've seen.
Yeah, so it has been really positive, really beneficial. I think at Northumbrian Water, we very much treat our contractors as partners. So not as one to be treated like a contractor, but also that the part of our service delivery, the front facing with our customers, they do an excellent job. And from that point of view, giving them the ability to be accountable and have their empowerment in the palm of their hands around demonstrating that they're doing a really great job, I think is probably one of the biggest benefits around that. I think sometimes filling in a form just on a device can sometimes feel a bit detached from an operational team to like an assessment team or an office-based team. There's that separation there. Whereas when you're recording a video and you're watching the video back, you kind of almost feel like you're in a partnership with them, like you're kind of almost there with them. I definitely think the kind of empowerment and accountability of recording that video when you're there and recording the evidence is definitely one of the biggest performance improvements that we've seen.
That's amazing. I think a lot of the times when we talk about benefits, we look directly at how much the savings are, and the incidents that we save and things like that. But I think the behavior change element that you're talking about, which is I think one of the best values of video, is when you're out in an environment and you're engaging with your environment, you're always going to be able to pick up and be more aware and be more conscious, learn a lot more, and actually end up delivering a better job a lot of the times, right first time in that way. How has this impacted the challenge that you were initially having with, having these incidents of flooding occur? Has there been an impact on that as a whole?
Yeah, so so I'll talk about two projects in our time in this discussion, one being the flooding from operations. And generally, average, we had about 30 of those incidents every year. Now remember, I'll explain that's where one of our crews, our operational crews, are on site and they're using the jetting hose or the cleaning hose. And we unfortunately accidentally internally flood the customer. Through the introduction of giving our partners more accountability and empowerment through the VIN. So every time they went to site, what they would do is they would get the VIN up and they would talk through the risks of what they can see, the mitigation that they were going to put in place. So we did the toolbox talks, we did the briefings in the office, we did, time after time, we go and see them, ask the supervisor, go and talk to them, and nothing really impacted the improvement more than giving them the opportunity to record what they were doing on site at the time. So last year, on an average of around 30 instances, we had 3 last year. Now, when you think about that we're a heavily regulated business, we have performance commitments. Every kind of incident beyond that performance commitment, we receive a penalty. So for every every flooder, every internal flooder that we get, it's like £90,500 penalty. So the reduction of 27 has effectively helped us to avoid a penalty of £530,000 in that year, which is massive to us. Not only that, but it's also saved 27 occurrences of customers having that internal flooding, which again is more testament than maybe the penalty avoided to be discussed. The other project that I really want to highlight, we only started in September with the help of Vyn, was the first time transferred flooders. Now it's called transferred because we adopted overnight a load of private network in 2011. So that's what I call transferred. Now, we never went to these flooders the first time that they went, our technical teams never went, but we started to go in September. What we've seen is through the help of Vyn, not just getting people to site first time, but also allowing the technical advisors, some of who are on the call today, allowing them to capture that evidence, talk through what they can see. That's helped us have a 12% swing in terms of what the historic data shows us that we would take as hours in non-energy well, as to what the last 6 months or so has been since September, since starting this process. Now, again, with external flooding, we also receive a penalty. Now we've had an estimated 350 incident improvement in terms of that 12%, which works out as a potential penalty avoidance of £2.1 million. The other benefits is what we call ESI, or Employment Satisfaction Index, or you might know it as a great place to work, the Times Best Companies stuff. So by allowing people to have more accountability and more empowerment in the palm of their hands through the video notes, does make our teams feel a lot better about where they're working. And I'm sure some of the people on the call might testament to that as well. And the other thing is around efficiency. So we're trying to roll out at the minute an enhancement to our first time TDS process, where we've completely changed an internal process that's been in since 2014. And that's going to save us probably about half an hour a job by using the video notes compared to what the old process was. And some of the feedback I've already had with that is kind of, I'm on site, I do my report, and then it's done, rather than what they were doing before is they were saving up a lot of information and then having to write reports out later on. So again, efficiency, productivity, I think that the benefits so far have been really, really, really positive.
Wow, I'm trying to process all of the benefits that are coming through, but it's really amazing to hear, and thank you for sharing that with us, Ben. What do you see for the future of the technology now within NWO, and how it contributing to sort of your larger goals as a company?
Yeah, so as I said, we're currently rolling out a new process that's been in since 2014, and that's to replace kind of what was called the flooding record, which was a spreadsheet-based report that was sent from an office team to a field team. The field team used to kind of hang on to it. They used to do their investigation, then either go back home and fill that out, or come into the office the next day and fill it out and then return it. We had probably about a 75% success rate in terms of getting those reports back within 5 days. And that's important because the quicker we can make an assessment on the flooding issue, the quicker we can resolve things for our customers. So 75%, it's not really great. With the use of Vyn, I'm hoping that's going to be greater than 95% of that information being sent back to the office, being able to make decisions, being able to progress work, get in touch with the customer, let them know what's going on. So that's currently me current focus, Shrey, is on embedding that process and understanding the benefits of that. So yeah, I think wider, the safety impact around it. We're not yet using what we would call the 60-second check, which is the on-site initial safety check stuff. I can see that coming in as well.
Amazing! How exciting! It sounds like we've got a very packed road to make a lot of impact in the near future, which I'm very excited about. Speaking about impact, and I know this is the last little juicy bit of it. For all those watching, Ben is part of our Game Changers ecosystem, recognizes Game Changer himself, someone being very passionate about championing change and new innovation. So Ben, why don't you share with us if you have a couple of top tips with our audience about maybe what they can learn from you and your experience about being a game changer and working with a new smart innovation, and how they can maybe use some of those top tips to do it themselves, or just things to be mindful of, as a nice take home for everyone.
Yeah, I think it probably sounds obvious, but I wouldn't have thought about making these changes if I hadn't have maybe listened to the people that were experiencing the problems. So when you're close to your teams and hear them talk about things being inefficient or not recording the right information or wanting things to be better, I think it's our responsibility as leaders to be able to listen to them and try and enact some change. So I think that's probably my first point, is to take the time to listen to the teams and try and work with them to implement something that's going to be of benefit. Not only that, I think what we've done is we've introduced a technology and a process that enables us to be better in terms of business outcomes, but also be better for the user experience. So on both sides, we're kind of winning. And I think if you can achieve that, then you'd be crazy not to try and do something new. The second one is probably don't assume that something can't be done. So we had this idea. We've been trying to change this process for a couple of years in terms of the flood record. I wanted to try and change it. Went to Vyn, said, we've got an idea, we've got a problem. This is kind of what I want to do, not even knowing that it was even possible. And you guys have kind of come on board and just supported us as a team through that, making changes. And something that's been with us since 2014 that we've been trying to change for a couple of years, we've done literally inside of 5 months. And we've changed the full process. So don't assume that something can't be done, and get that advice. And failure, just be prepared for failure, and let your teams know that it's okay to try something and for it not to work, and for it to continue to work and develop. I think a lot of kind of hesitancy comes from, well, what if it doesn't work? What about this? And what about that's okay. We'll work through it, and if it doesn't work the first time, we'll get it the second time.
Brilliant. Those are some fantastic top tips, very actionable as well. And I hope that our audience can kind of, take away some of those. We will be sharing those with the rest of our audience as well, post-event, so you can have those and kind of mull over them, because I know I want to think about them properly and understand and pick out the key insights that we can operationalize for sure. But thank you so much, Ben, for sharing your top tips and sharing your experience with us. It's been we're here to celebrate you, and I feel like you've celebrated innovation as a whole. So I think that's what we call a win-win. But yeah, thank you for your time. And if we were able to do a digital applause, we would. But for now, I'll say a big thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Hang around, Ben, because we'll have a bunch of questions coming from the audience. I know the chat's still a bit iffy, so we can use the Q&A part, the functionality, and we'll fill those in a little bit. Next, I would like to bring on another game changer who's also been very, very passionate. A couple of months ago, we did a full Game Changers profile piece as well to dive deep into the minds of William Besser-Simmons and the work that he's been doing with Cadent Gas. As by a quick intro, William is a strategic, forward-thinking senior leader who is passionate for innovation. He's been in the gas industry for almost 16 and a half years in various different roles, currently working in the Cadent Gas EM Investment Program Office. He's responsible for delivering the RepEx program, MOBs, IPO delivery works, and EM Street works. William has also been part of the Vyntelligence ecosystem, as I mentioned, since last year. I'm very excited to have him share his insights with you all. William, welcome to our digital stage. How are you?
I'm good, really good. Thank you.
Fantastic. So we'll start off with a little bit of a similar journey, just to give our audience a little bit of context on what work you currently do, and some of the challenges that you were kind of facing within the context of what was happening, and what made you actually step out and look for a new innovation, or if it was a way of a new innovation coming to you, what were some of the key pain points that you were facing that you wanted to change?
Yeah, so most of the work we do is the gas replacement work, which is kind of what we call the RepEx program. You see us in the streets, causing chaos, as people may think, but there's a method in the madness in terms of why we're doing what we need to do. So reason we ventured into Vyn was, and I'm glad Manisha is on here, because we started the journey around 2021, 2020. We just finished one regulatory framework, moving into the other. Just to give a context, the geographic area we're covering, Eastern Network, covers from the border of Hull down to just before Leeds, on the border of Staffordshire, all the way past Milton Keynes down to Barnet, London, outer London, through Tottenham to Southend, across Ipswich, down to Norwich, Peterborough, around that East Coast, all the way back. That's the geographic expanse that we were covering. So at any moment in time, we have teams delivering work for us across the spread, and we need to make sure they're doing it safely, compliantly, at the same time, compliance to law, but also compliant to our policy procedures and safeguarding members of the public. So that's the scale of the challenge we had. So I can't remember when we had the chat, how we're going to improve from where we were, because financially, in terms of penalties, similar to what Ben said, we were hemorrhaging a lot of money. Also, the risks to us in terms of liability of people, and now that was quite high. So we had a conversation, and I think, being fair, Manisha brought the name Vyn for, we never heard of it. So it's okay. Let's have a listen. Let's see what Vyn's got, because for those that are not aware, compliance to NESWA, which is the New Roads and Street Works Act, is a legal compliance activity that we have to meet. So we sat down with Vyn, and most people will know in the utility industry, we've done it this same way for 20, 30, 100 years, and we continue to believe that the way we've done it was right. So listening to Vyn saying, yeah, we can automate this, you can have a video, you can see your site, and then you lay an AI, that was kind of like news to our ears in terms of being able to see 100 sites at once. A video coming in, we can make impacts in terms of rectifying non-compliances, but also communicate straight with our teams. It was kind of like a journey we were looking forward to, and very passionate about it, because not just the financial, but in terms of making sure that we were compliant was quite key for us in there. So that's kind of like the context to which we then entered into the world of eyes on the ground.
Sorry to jump into this. William, your voice was breaking up. So it could be your earphones which is causing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me...
If you just want to toggle a wire or something, maybe, just to make sure the connection is all fine. But that was really good context. Thank you for sharing with us, William. And kind of for us understanding the scale of the network and the area geographically that you're working with, right? How is one supposed to have all of the visibility of the works that happen across such a huge space, across so many people involved in such a team? The really interesting point that I liked you made about kind of the traditionality of the industry, right? The legacy processes and systems that we have established for such a long time, that can, that gets ingrained in the behavior and the culture and the processes and the way that you work things. So I think bringing on a new innovation can then all of a sudden be quite a little bit jarring in a way. So tell us a little bit about the experience, the positive experience that you guys had, because I remember we've had the conversation before about your teams who were when you were trying to champion this new change and innovation.
Yeah, so I guess the first step is myself being buying into the idea that this is a viable option and being passionate about it. So my team were covering this geography and they used to just driving to sites. This is what we do, go to site, check site. And it's changing the mindset about actually being proactive and being visible to see the risk before you actually head even to site, and risk profiling where you need to go. And that mindset change was kind of like a journey internally. But then also we need to work with our partners and our contractors who are on the ground to buy into using the tool and identifying the benefits of video versus pictures, because we were taking pictures of our sites. And the reality hit all of us when we had a member of the public injury in the first year. And one team had chosen to video using their own phone the site. And by realizing that that protected the industry or the company themselves, that that video proved that he'd done everything right, that message all of a sudden hits home that the picture doesn't give you 1,000 words like we'd say, but the video actually tells you the whole story. And we can see more, we can then use that to change the path. So for my team, it was a journey of now setting an understanding of why we need to migrate from the traditional way we do things to using Vyn, because they need to check the videos that have come in and then feedback. Now, just to cover the area, we knew we couldn't meet our targets. And also we had so much fines starting from when we finished the previous contract was around over £800,000 on charges alone, fines. So we needed to reduce all that cost, at the same time deliver the compliance and then protect the members of the public. So rationalizing and showing them the tools, being patient with them because different age profiles, different backgrounds in terms of adapting to change. Went through the journey, all the cycle, not doing it, we're doing it, we're not doing it. And then went through all that change curve with the team. But especially with the contractors, I think where they bought in was helping them to see the benefit that this is actually protecting them and us. And to the point where we had to then decide to move away from the pictures to enable them to use one tool. Now, today, as I sit here, I don't even need to sell it to the contractors because they're using it as a bargaining tool for the insurance premiums, because this is kind of like their dash cam now. So they're going to the insurance companies and saying, we have a tool that helps us to show you the state of our sites. Now, over the years, we've also tried I always say the 90-90, where you try and engage, communicate, influence. But at some point, we also then have to make it contractual, because there is a contractual element to safeguard everybody. And by implementing the contract where the benefits outweighs they're not using it. Now, it's part of everything we do. It's part of our induction process. From day one, a team has the Vyn on their phone. They go out from day one and they start using Vyn. We are now progressing to the stage where we had a session with yourselves not long ago talking about the AI capability and where we really want to see the AI now intervening into risk, and the AI absolutely stopping us from even progressing to the next stage. So that shows the maturity that we've come across. And in terms of the numbers, is kind of like astronomical with the savings in terms of when we talk about things like our cost. So year one, 62% savings on our charges. Year two, 85%. I've just got this year three, last year's figures, and we've shaved so much that now it's becoming difficult to shave off it. And even that, we've managed to shave 45% of the charges, and it's just getting even difficult now. Just last week, I had a call from one of our networks because we are the best performing network within our company. And we've been told all the other networks need to come and look at what East Midlands is doing, and whatever we're doing, just do it. So it just shows the value of persistence and persevering through that change and taking people along that journey to the point where the next stage of embedment is there now, is now enhancing the capabilities of the tool that we have.
Wow, that's amazing. I think you've also hit upon like what we were going to talk about, which is the value of video in terms of providing that kind of assurance and it having an impact across compliance, convenience, and confidence, right? All the 3 C's across your various different stakeholders. Can you tell us a little bit about? So we've spoken about the aspect of the video in the field, right, and what the value that has. Can you tell us a little bit about the experience of the sort of remote assurance aspect and the inspections where people are having a look at, working with the platform in the back end and not just out on the field, where you have various different of your AIs and your dashboards that you're working with at the moment?
Yeah, so watching Vyn video is now part of our daily norm now. So for every leadership meeting we have, our safety moment begins with a Vyn video. So we select randomly on offsite whatever video has been presented that day. And as a leadership team, we want to see what the teams are going through. Because sometimes it's easy to be offsite and always blame people on the ground, not understand the challenges they go through. So through the eyes of Vyn, we as a leadership team watch a Vyn video, discuss it, understand the challenges, and see how do we support the team on the ground to deliver that. Because we have got to the stage where we are absolutely getting so many videos, 80 videos a day, across just East Midlands, it's now become a challenge on how do we go review other videos to support the team and give them feedback. So every senior leader within East Midlands now, in the contract that we are in now, has been given access to the videos, and everybody's got a challenge of watching a video a day and reviewing it and giving feedback, positive or constructive, back to the teams. So as we all add value, because safety is not just from the delivery side or those on the ground, but all the leadership team. So it's become part of our daily life now, watching the video, whether you're going on site or you're not on site. Everyone has a role to play, and it's just keeping a message going. Even if you can't try, you've got the opportunity to influence change by just going on Vyn and watching the video.
It's amazing how something so simple, right? A task so simple can have such amazing results that have impact across the value chain, right? Across different teams, different stakeholders. I think it's super powerful, and it's amazing to hear that something that would seem so simple can be so impactful. Tell us a little bit about what's the experience been like across your teams in terms of, obviously we've spoken about some of the benefits, but the benefits of the platform as a whole. So maybe if you want to mention a bit about some of the AI or some of the with the regulators, the work that you've had, or even some with your end customers, right? Because at the end of the day, utilities we are working in a public service space. So we have to always think about the end customer as well and the impact that it has on them. Yeah, we'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, so working on street works is always challenging because the assets in the ground is always constrained. And honestly, if somebody said to me 4 years ago, you could get a tool that could then identify things and point out whether it's compliant or not, then we would all be saying, well, maybe you're pushing the boundaries. But the AI capability, based on the training that we've given it now, it's able to absolutely pick non-compliances in advance and send the comments. We've absolutely established a compliance team that actually all they do is watch Vyn, because we've got the tool there and they keep educating the AI and feeding with more information so the AI gets better. Our dashboards are getting smarter now, so we're targeting areas of improvement through the dashboard capability of the AI, and we're more proactive. And last year and previously, we've brought in all our East Midland highway authorities, which is about 17, 18 of them, in and show them what we use Vyn for. And they were blown away because kind of like they could see the effort we're putting in to make compliance, but not just being on site, but we can share the video with them. So even if they find something, we can rectify it and send them a copy of the video to say, we have rectified based on what the feedback we had from you. The other aspect of it is, if you take, for instance, the economic crisis we've had has had behavior input on customers and members of the public. We've had people that are potentially trying to claim on our works, and yet when we've been able to evidence that we left the site in a safe condition, and this is the approach that we follow, and we show them a copy of the video, the claims vanish. Now that's, in a way, from a company point and from insurance point, but also when we failed, we can then go and learn from it and say, why did we fail and how do we improve to make sure we don't rectify? So a lot of the videos that we are gathering now is going into our training manual. So what good looks like and what bad looks like and what we expect people to do in terms of standards. So this tool is kind of like brought different dynamics from where we started and where we're going with it. And there's only more that we can do than what we're doing at the present.
Amazing. Thank you so much, William. I'm sure the future is looking very bright, and we would love to have that conversation as well at some point to see where your imagination will take up all of this and land. I'm conscious of time, so again, we'd like to leave some of the audience with some of your key top tips very quickly on how you think that they can champion change within their own organization and look towards building smart innovation as part of their capability of their work.
Yeah, the first one for me is, I think as an industry, utilities, which we're so used to saying no. Question is, why not? Why do we limit our imagination to the way it was done 200 years ago to what is done now? My view is to say yes and then see how you make the tool comply with policies and procedures. They're there for a reason, but saying no limits you in terms of your progress. The other bit that I've said to myself this year and my team is, yesterday's tools are not fit for today's work profile that we need to do. So what worked yesterday is not going to be so efficient today. So we need to change for tomorrow. So just look outside the box, look at what others are doing and bring it in, because if we can adopt it and make it work, just like we've done with Vyn, there's so much that we can do with different tools and different innovation, but definitely from customer compliance, safety, commercial delivery, your imagination is, you only limit your imagination by yourself. So for me, it's kind of like the new norm is say yes and then challenge the norm as to why not.
Well, amazing. I think those are fantastic top tips, thinking about what we're doing right now, as well as what we should be looking at in the future, because I think we're in an amazing inflection point where the world is changing very, very rapidly, and sometimes it's hard to hold on to some of those things. So thank you so much, William, for your time, for being a game changer and sharing your amazing insights with us. It's been really, really educational and really interesting just to hear everything that you've had to say. What we'll do now is we will bring our VP of Customer Success, Vinny, to field some of the questions that we have from the audience for our guest speakers before briefly moving on to our guest of honor and Star Winners, which is very exciting. So stay tuned.
Thanks, Shrey. Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Will, for great insights. I'll start off the questions in the reverse order as they are appearing. So the first one is from Gemma, Anglian Water. I believe it's for Will. Can you recap the street work savings for Cadent over 3 years, please? She was not able to note them down as you were speaking.
So we started with year one, 62% savings of our charges and fines, which was around circa 800K across Eastern Network. And then in year two, we managed to improve at around 85%. And just in this year three that we've just finished, we've just delivered a 45% shaving off where we ended year two. So as we speak now, I think the number is just for, let's take FPNs, we just under £80,000. And then when you take Section 74, another 80, so 160. And the challenge now is how far down can we go? And we've got the tools to keep improving.
Of course, continuous improvement is the target. Brilliant. Thanks, Will. And the second question from Mark.Green1, again, is back to you, Will. Were the charges related to overrun charges, fixed penalty notices, FPNs, or defect charges were when held? So how did you divide those fines? Were they related to overrun, fixed penalties, or defect charges?
So in terms of the FPNs, fixed charge and fixed penalties, we know exactly each one because we paid on a different lines. And the main thing is for us, Vyn, kind of like the AI now, and for the team, the Vyn team, we've had a lot of conversations around this. It's already identifying what the NESWA code is. So it's telling us whether we should have a permit board, and we haven't got a permit board. We should have a person at work sign. So Vyn is already highlighting some of these. So then when we get our non-compliances and we check what Vyn actually said to that video, then we are finding the correlation, and then we see where the AI is really adding value now. Because if we had implemented what the AI said, then we may not have had the fine. But then we go back to the contractors and our partners and use that as an education to say, you may have had a notification from Vyn, and if you had checked it, then this cost impact would not have happened. So we do know each one in terms of FPN and Section 74 exactly based on when they come in.
Oh, it's good to hear that AI is helping you to prioritize and see that whether or not you could avoid the charges. Definitely good to hear as well for me and my team who are part of delivery. A quick question back to you, Ben, which came very early on, is I think this was an explanation. It appears that you are recording the activity of your own maintenance and project teams. So is that a correct assumption to make? So your own teams?
So I think for the flooding from operations, it's basically the assessment and thought process of that individual that's on site. It's his or hers interpretation and thought process around mitigation and the risks. For the first time transfer drains and sewers assessment, it's the assessment of the incident itself. So is it flooded? Is it not flooded? Where is it flooding from? What part of the network? What areas are affected? Are neighboring properties affected? So two slightly different strands. Hope that helps.
Hope that answers the question. It was an anonymous user. The next one that has come in is Ian Hunter. It probably can be answered by either one of you or both of you. He's interested to know how Vyn integrates with your work management systems, and briefly, what is the process to recall video on a specific job on a specific day? So
it might be different between me and Will. So shall I go first, Will? And then
yes, please.
So there has been some integration into our mobile apps that Northumbrian Water use. So on an iPhone, we have what's called a sewerage app that all the crews use. The integration of the flooding from operations risk assessment is included in that. So that goes back to our corporate systems, and anybody that's back in the office can access our corporate systems and view that Vyn. The first time transfer drains and sewers assessment isn't linked to any corporate systems. It's standalone within the Vyn portal. But again, if we've got the work order reference or a premise ID that's been entered by our office team that issue the Vyn to the technical team, then anybody can go back into that area and view it.
Thanks, Ben. Well, do you have any view as well from Cadent side?
Yeah, for us, we're using the Vyn platform where most of our videos are, but we've now gone from a Cadent point to our next regulatory framework going, everything needs to be video capability. So we are going video capability based on the proof of concept that we've learned from Vyn, that we're not going to be using pictures going forward. It's just going to be video for everything we do. And the conversation is with our IT team on how do we create the API to make sure that it feeds back into our core system. So that's kind of like the future state. But as it stands, we keep everything on the Vyn platform.
Makes sense. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Will. Ben, the next question is for you. How easy it has been to get the Vyn reports or Vyn videos to those in the office to make decisions and pulling together the reports?
Yeah, it's pretty instant. I think if you end up finishing your capture Vin in the field, within a couple of minutes, that video's available, less than a couple of minutes on the portal. What's really kind of we discovered during this process of the new thing that we're capturing is part of the Vin portal. What you can do is you can capture a slice of the video and annotate that as part of the record. And we've also, just by kind of playing with it a little bit, also noticed that you can actually make a comment on a video and the person that captured that video receives that comment. So yesterday, I was watching a video trying to assess whether it was our flooding or not, and I made a little note just to ask myself a question. Unbeknown to me, the person that recorded the video received that question and then responded to me from the field on his video as to why he made that decision. So I was like, oh, this is really good. So we kind of need to build on that a little bit. But it is really easy. The video quality is good. I think we've always said to the teams when you're recording the video, just make sure, like any video, you're doing it nice and slowly. You pan around because fast videos are terrible anyway. But yeah, it's really easy, really simple.
Right. Our product team and engineering team would be very happy to hear that you have been using all the features possibly.
Yeah, which I didn't even know they were there, so that's great. I was like, oh, finding new treats every day.
So there are a couple of more questions, but we can answer them because they are very generic questions, and we can move on to the next segment, which is to basically appreciate the star winners. So I'll hand it back to Shrey, and let's celebrate the star winners.
Thanks, Ronnie. I'm going to let Shashank handle this one because
Thank you.
I know he's very excited
Wow,
about it.
it's been so humbling to listen to all the positive impacts. Now it's the time to celebrate. I would like to introduce our guest of honor, Monisha Gower. Monisha leads the Asset Directorate team in Northumbrian Water Group, covering maintenance and reliability, capital program and project delivery, engineering, and asset intelligence, a bit of everything. That's incredible. Welcome, Monisha. We are thrilled to have you with us to present our Star Winners Award. But just before we get into those celebrations, we would love to hear your take on what has been discussed today.
Yeah, thank you for that, Shashank. And my word, I can understand why you've got Ben and William as game changers. So inspiring to hear, some of the big things that they're doing, both in the Northumbrian Water and in Cadent Gas. And I think my reflections on this are very much about, technology and innovation and just thinking differently, allowing us to work smarter. And we are mostly regulated organizations, regulated businesses and utilities that are represented on this call. It is about driving the best outcomes for our customers and the communities that we represent. And that would mean performing at a higher level, driving productivity, driving efficiency, and using the finite resources that we have to sort of deliver on some of those aspects of of the services that we provide. And I love the fact that it's about empowering the teams as well to take accountability for the work that we're doing, whether it's on driving quality, on safety standards, on performance, and really moving forward with that continuous improvement. So I've been thoroughly inspired by the guys, and just pleasure to share the stage with them on this.
Right, that's lovely.
Cool. So, Shashank, I believe since 2021, Vyntelligence has recognized about 30 star winners who've made a significant impact in their teams and their organizations. And star winners are instrumental in leading change, scaling innovation, and delivering game-changing business benefits such as improved efficiency, as I talked about, and better customer engagement. I'm so thrilled to be able to hand out some of these star winner awards. So I'd like to invite to the digital stage, in the first instance, Alison Crawford, Streetworks and Reinstatement Officer at Cadent Gas. Alison's manager, Gary Hawkins, said that Alison is a key part of the London team who takes huge pride in her work and is a joy to have supporting the team. She's worked to drive compliance and has offered her knowledge in the development of Vyn, and the team are proud to have her as a team member. So well done, Alison, and well for being a game changer in your business, and congratulations on the achievement.
Thank you for that, Manisha. So unfortunately, Alison had to drop off. For her replacement, can I ask William to receive the award and perhaps share a couple of lines of the acknowledgement?
Well, thank you, Manisha. I know Alison very well. We used to work together in London, so it's nice to see the progress and how we are really taking these tools across the business. And I keep in touch with Gary Hawkins also, because at the end of the day, like Manisha said, we want to give our customers, whether transient or customers that directly we are working for, want to give them the best service that we can. So I'm glad Alison has made it here, and I'll definitely touch base with her later. Thank you for the award.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, William, for stepping in as well. Next up, we have a full team of star winners. And with pride, I say this as well. The first time TDS or transfer drains flooding team at Northumbrian Water. This team attends flooding incidents that have happened for the first time on the Northumbrian Water transferred network. Before September 2023, they never attended these incidents with a technical advisor, which resulted in penalties. With new innovation, the team of 11 took up this challenge to implement Vyn when trying to attend as many first-time flooding incidents. The team really took to Vyn and now use it on every attendance, which is fantastic. The process, with the help of Vyn, allowed Northumbrian Water to achieve a 10% benefit, and in turn has helped us to avoid 1.8 million worth of penalties. This team is led by Martin Mackinson and Kirsty Richardson. So just want to say thank you to the team for being game changers, and congratulations on your achievement. If you'd like to join me on the digital stage and say a few words for us, please.
Kirsty?
Hi, Kirsty.
Hi, can you hear us okay?
Yeah,
Yes,
got you.
Yeah, thanks, Manisha. Sorry about that. Yeah, so Vyn has completely changed the way that our small team has worked over the last 6 months or so. It's been a big change, and it was a big change to take on, but I can honestly say that it's been positive from day one. It's made such a big change to how we're working, but as well the results that we're gaining from the work that we're doing. And what it's meant for us is, instead of using multiple systems and multiple tools to record information which has been stored in multiple locations, we're now using a combination of video clips, photos, the form type text, all within Vyn, everything's stored in one place. It's easy to use and it's easy to access. So thank you to Ben for introducing us to Vyn. Thank you to Vyn for making such a positive change to the way that we work, and thank you for the award.
Thanks, Kirsty.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Brilliant. And just
thank-
before I hand back to you, Shashank, I just wanted to in another reflection here, being star winners and game changers is absolutely an essential as we move forward. And we all need to be quite relentless about challenging the norms and the status quo to really drive forward innovation and working smarter and better. So really taking to some of William's words there is drive, push. And change doesn't happen overnight. It takes patience, it takes effort, but it does deliver results. So well done to everybody, and thank you to Vyn as well, and thank you for having me. I'll hand back to you, Shashank.
Patience, persistence, and effort. Lovely. Thank you so much, Manisha. Super inspiring words, and also for presenting the awards to our star winners. Congratulations to all the winners, and for pioneering the game-changing attitude in your respective companies. Truly motivating. Well done. Thanks to everyone for taking the time out to join us today. That's a wrap. We hope you found this session both helpful and inspiring, and that it has provided you with some food for thought and an appetite for mixing it up in your organization for the right things. Keep an eye out on your inboxes for the top tips from today's session. Our next masterclass will be in July. We look forward to seeing you all there with another set of game changers, supporting our drive for happier customers, colleagues, and contractors, or to say partners. Thank you all. Have a great day.